20 countries where guns are illegal. Welcome to our exploration of firearms regulations around the world in 2024. Today, we delve into 20 countries where civilian gun ownership is either heavily restricted or outright illegal. From strict licensing requirements to comprehensive bans, these nations have implemented diverse approaches to ensure public safety and prevent gun-related violence. Join us as we examine how these laws are shaping the landscape of firearm ownership globally. Before starting, don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more future updates. 1. Japan. Due in significant part to its historically low crime rate and pacifist constitution adopted after World War II, Japan has some of the tightest gun control regulations in the world. It is almost forbidden for citizens to carry pistols or automatic weapons in their own possession. Completion of competency exams, mental health assessments, and thorough background checks are all part of the stringent licensing procedure for gun ownership. Even with a license in hand, ammo and weaponry must be kept under strict supervision. Japan's very low rate of gun violence is a testament to the effectiveness of its stringent legal framework. 2. United Kingdom. In the wake of the 1996 Dunblane tragedy, in which a shooter murdered 16 children and 1 teacher, the United Kingdom enacted strict gun control laws. Handguns are prohibited from private possession completely, while other weapons, such rifles and shotguns, need a police-issued weapons certificate, FAC, or shotgun certificate, SGC, in order to be owned. Candidates must submit to background checks, provide a legitimate excuse, such as hunting or sports shooting, and offer references. Law compliance is further ensured by regulations for safe storage and regular renewals. 3. Australia. After the Port Arthur tragedy in 1996, in which a lone shooter using semi-automatic weapons murdered 35 people and wounded 23, Australia dramatically tightened its gun restrictions. The National Firearms Agreement, NFA, imposed stronger licensing and registration requirements, a buyback scheme to lower the quantity of firearms, and a ban on automatic and semi-automatic rifles and shotguns. Gun ownership is now strictly controlled, requiring background checks, training, and storage procedures for all applicants. 4. Singapore. Singapore has stringent gun control legislation in place to protect the public and stop crimes using weapons. The basic rule is that civilians cannot possess weapons, yet there are few exceptions, such as security workers and competition shooters who fulfill strict requirements. The Arms and Explosives Act, as well as the Arms Offences Act, regulate the ownership and use of guns, placing a strong emphasis on the harsh consequences associated with doing so. 5. China. China's tight rules and regulations tightly regulate civilian access to guns. Firearms are often not allowed for private possession. They are only allowed for government, law enforcement, and military officials. Tough punishments, such as serious criminal charges, discourage the unlawful acquisition or trafficking of guns. In order to prevent illegal access and maintain public safety, the government closely supervises the manufacture, sale, and importation of guns. India. The Arms Act of 1959, which tightly restricts civilian ownership, governs India's gun legislation. To own a weapon, a private person must apply for a license, which is issued after a thorough background investigation. Proof of necessity, such self-defense or competitive shooting, and compliance with safety and storage regulations. The possession of automatic and semi-automatic guns is forbidden for civilians. However, there are certain exceptions for government employees and security officers. 7. Ireland. Ireland has strict gun control legislation in place to stop gun violence and protect public safety. The civilian ownership of handguns is strictly prohibited, and the possession of any other weapons necessitates a weapons certificate, FCA, granted by law enforcement. Candidates must submit to background checks, have a legitimate justification, such as hunting or sports shooting, and follow stringent storage and transit guidelines. Inspections on a regular basis guarantee adherence to license requirements. 8. New Zealand. Following the 2019 shootings at the Christchurch Mosque, when a shooter used semi-automatic weapons to murder 51 people, New Zealand revised its gun regulations. The government strengthened licensing and registration procedures, instituted a buyback program, and quickly outlawed semi-automatic weapons akin to those used in the military. Owners of firearms are now required to complete extensive background checks, safety training, and proof of a legitimate purpose for possession, such as for hunting or target practice. 9. Germany. Under the auspices of the Weapons Act, Waffengesetz, Germany has some of the harshest gun prohibitions in Europe. Depending on the kind of weapon, possession of a weapons possession card, Waffenbesitzkarte, or firearms license, Waffenschein, is required. Candidates must pass background checks, provide proof of their ability to handle and store weapons securely, and provide a legitimate justification, such as hunting or sports shooting. Weapons that are automatic or semi-automatic are subject to severe rules, and compliance with them is regularly monitored. 10. Brazil. Brazil has severe problems with gun violence, which has led to strict laws on guns. Possession necessitates a federal firearms registration, CR, which requires applicants to submit to psychiatric testing, background checks, and verification of a legitimate need, such as self-defense or professional obligations. Automatic weapons are forbidden for civilian ownership, and unlawful possession and trafficking of guns are punishable by law. 11. South Korea. To protect public safety and avert crimes using weapons, South Korea upholds stringent regulations regarding civilian firearm ownership. Private ownership is restricted to certain occupations, such as security guards and competitive shooters, who need to go through rigorous training, psychological testing, and background checks. Gun ownership, usage, and storage are governed by the Guns Control Act, which imposes harsh penalties for unlawful acquisition and trafficking of guns. Mexico. Gun violence in Mexico is a serious problem that is associated with the illicit trafficking of guns. The federal government strictly regulates weapons, and private possession is severely limited. To possess a weapon, an individual has to apply for a license from the Secretariat of National Defense, SEDENA, prove that they have a need for it, clear a background check, and complete training. It is against the law for civilians to own automatic weapons, and illicit possession or trafficking carries severe consequences. 13. Argentina. Ownership of weapons is restricted to those who can demonstrate a legitimate need for self-defense or recreational shooting in Argentina, which has stringent gun laws. Licensing and background checks are prerequisites for possession. 14. Sweden. Sweden has tight gun control legislation requiring a license in order to own a handgun. Handguns are strictly regulated, and possessing other weapons necessitates proving a good cause, such hunting or target practice. 15. Norway. Norway has severe gun regulations which prohibit individuals from owning automatic weapons or pistols. Other firearm ownership requires a license, which is only issued following stringent requirements and extensive background investigations. 16. Denmark. Denmark has strict gun control regulations requiring a license in order to own a handgun. The civilian possession of handguns and automatic weapons is forbidden, and the ownership of other firearms is strictly restricted. 17. Italy. Gun ownership is restricted in Italy to those who can provide proof of a legitimate purpose, such as hunting or sports shooting. The country maintains severe gun rules. Getting a license to own weapons requires both safety instruction and background checks. 18. France. France has tight gun control regulations requiring a license to own a handgun. There are severe laws governing handguns and automatic weapons, and possessing any other kind of firearm requires proving a legitimate purpose, including hunting or target practice. 19. Canada. Canada has tight laws governing weapons and requires a license to own one. There are severe laws governing handguns and automatic weapons, and obtaining a background check and completing safety training are prerequisites for obtaining other firearms. 20. Austria. Austria has tight gun control legislation requiring a license in order to own a handgun. There are severe laws governing handguns and automatic weapons, and possessing any other kind of firearm requires proving a legitimate purpose, including hunting or target practice. This is it for today's video. What do you think of our video? Comment below with your thoughts and let us know. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel for more future updates. Thanks for watching.